Hello, folks. Oh, I'm very dark. Hold on.
Good morning.
That's a little better. Good morning. Participant list. Ah, there we are.
Looking bright, looking bright.
Indeed.
How are you?
Well, how are you?
Nervous as usual, but that's always the case for me.
That's par for the course. Okay, so just so that you know, Brandy, we are going to come out of a couple of pre-recorded pieces. So
Yeah.
it'll go to those to you. And yeah.
And I have some slides, but I see already that I have the option of screen share, so I will do that as I go in, just to
Yeah.
let you all know.
We just make sure. Okay, good. We're all set up for that. Do you have audio or video embedded in your slides?
I don't.
Okay, so you don't have to.
I try to limit that.
Understandable.
Been
So
there, done that.
we don't have to worry about that. Let me make
Good
sure
morning.
one thing. Yeah, that's what I thought was going to happen. Okay. We'll just have to do that. All right. How is everybody this morning? Oh, hold on. Stephanie's calling me. Yes, ma'am. Yep, we're on. We're all good. Okay, bye. There was a small moment of panic because the Zoom account was being used for another meeting. And
Right.
like, wait, no, we
Kick
can't.
them out. Just kick them out.
We have to get on. We can't do this. So yeah.
Yeah, it's so interesting because with this in the Zoom world, we tend to schedule things back to back to back and forget to give ourselves that breather.
Exactly.
Mhm.
Exactly. So I don't know if some of these folks that are on already are just super excited to be here and are early folks or what. I'm not gonna, if you all are attendees, you're getting a little look behind the scenes, so good for you. You're hearing our showing up early, everybody gathering chat.
Call that the meeting before the meeting.
Exactly.
They're the best ones.
Exactly. Everybody looks fabulous this morning. Good morning, everybody.
I wore my t-shirt, Queen, know
I
your worth.
I love it.
Mhm.
I love it. I am in my and my ladies who pre-recorded with me, Carla and Angela, are getting you're seeing the way I'm really supposed to be when I have hair and makeup done.
Yeah, we're all fancy today.
As opposed when
I put earrings on.
Someone's chatting. All right.
So just a quick question.
Yep.
After my keynote is done, do I open that up for some questions or is that okay?
Yeah, Angela will come back on with you and help moderate those questions. So yes, when you're done, you can say, you know, I'm here to take questions. And Angela and AJ, right?
Yeah, I think I was gonna do Brandy's and AJ was gonna do the next set.
Perfect. Okay.
Yeah, so Brandy, I'll just I'll monitor the chat for you and read the questions for you.
Gotcha.
Which is perfect. That way you don't have to be watching the chat while you're trying to speak. I always think that that's a little difficult. So let me make sure my phone's up. Yes. I would say that to everybody. Make sure that your phone or any other devices that you might have near you are turned, the sound is turned off so you don't get random things in the middle of your calls or in the middle of your presentation or anything. Let me just make sure this is what I think it is. It is. All right. We've got a few more minutes before I want to, about 5 minutes before I'm going to put up just a holding slide so people know they're in the right place and etc. So And let's see, AJ is not on yet. Is that correct? Have I seen AJ yet?
Not yet, I don't think.
Okay.
I'm going to close my office door.
Yep, feel free.
We have roofers on top of
Nice.
MSJ of all things. So think of it as a heartbeat.
Of course you do, because
course
that's
we
the way
do.
these things work.
I know. They're right outside my window.
Nice, you know.
So if y'all see anything, you see a lag.
Well, let's
You
hope
have to
that
say like, run, Laura, run.
I know.
Yeah, really.
Nothing will stop the show.
No. Well, the show will go on because
The show will go on.
unless something happens to me. And do you know what I've even found? Actually, even though I open the meeting, because it's on Zoom, if my house went down in the middle of this, it would keep going. I wouldn't be able to control anything, but because it's on Zoom, it
Oh
would
my
keep
God.
running. So that's a good thing. You know, I have had a computer literally shut down in the middle of running a meeting.
So funny. Well, they are right outside my window, so sorry.
I can't hear them.
Oh, good,
I
good,
can't hear anything. I don't know.
I can't hear anything.
No,
good.
I think
Okay.
it's fine. And again, many, many worse things have happened. So no worries. I want to make sure AJ gets on. Laura, did you?
She wasn't registered. She's not on our list.
Oh,
I hope she has
the link.
yes, ma'am. I think we all sent it to her. She should have it.
Okay. Yeah, it would be good if she showed up.
Yes.
I'm just checking my email to make sure.
I'm texting her right now.
Terrific. And I just had another young man ask me for the link. I guess we'll send it to them again. What did I just ask me? They just said, "Oh, I can't find this." So if y'all have anybody that comes on or shoots you a text and says, I can't find the link, let us know and we'll try to accommodate them.
I just forwarded the link to AJ too, again.
Good. And I think we all sent it yesterday. She should have it.
We sent her the registration, so unless she clicked and is on the registration, she didn't get it.
How is everybody? Good morning. See some chat.
Laura, how are we tracking the CEUs? Is it by, because knowing that,
Registration.
but if they registered and they don't come, I guess we're recording it and we can try, look at the names because the CEUs are only for those.
Okay, I'm gonna call her.
Great. Thank you. Thank you. Yeah. Laura, you have the best background. I need that slide.
I love Carla's as well. That beautiful painting she has in the background.
Oh, that is beautiful.
Isn't that pretty? All right, so let's see. Do we have the other folks?
Does everybody have their agenda? Everybody get their agenda?
And just to confirm, most of the individuals joining are peers, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah. Okay.
Almost all.
All peers. I am with my people.
You are. I'm so glad to see you.
You too. I just lotioned my hands with my stress relief. So hopefully I don't look weird sniffing my hands, but it's delicious.
I saw a tip from a little meeting like this, and they said everybody got out a fun type of mug so everybody could read what was on it, or
Yeah.
like your t-shirt. So I thought that was kind of fun. So sniffing hands, backgrounds, all welcome.
All good. It reminds me of SNL back in the day, you know, where she went like that and yeah.
Some of us do know. Oh, I saw that, Katie. Oh, we have a good crowd.
We do. Oh,
I'm feeling good today. I got to take a shower and shave my legs and put on lotion. Like having a 2-year-old, that is a miracle for that to happen. All three of those things together, you know, so I feel like refreshed and renewed today.
Oh my goodness. Katie, I am so glad you're here. We need all peers here. This is so good. Thank you, everyone, for being here. So exciting.
Thank you for all your work on this.
Yes, you brought us all together.
So fun. Here's AJ. Yay.
yay. All right, AJ's here. I'm gonna go ahead then. I don't see AJ. How do I not see AJ?
Alicia.
Ah,
Her name.
Alicia Faria. Okay, great.
Ferrier, yes. Hello.
Hello.
Hey,
Except for we don't see you.
She's hiding.
Well, I did the camera. It's not on. You can't. Which is okay. Oh, you know what?
There you
Sorry. There we
are.
go.
There we go. All right. So now we are good. I am going to go ahead and share our pretty holding slide, and which even has a little jazzy music. And then we're going to come back when I stop screen sharing. AJ, you're on. Okay.
Okay.
All right. Anybody else who is not speaking can go ahead and mute themselves and or turn off your camera if you so desire, but that's up to you. But I'm gonna mute. And AJ, you look fabulous. So you got me, AJ, that you, when I stop my screen share and stop the music, then you're starting the meeting, correct? Give me a thumbs up from AJ.
Yeah, gotcha.
All right. And we'll do that. I'm going to let it go about 1 minute after 11, just so that, or after 10, just so that people have a chance, for those who might be a little late.
Good afternoon. I'm sorry. Good morning, everybody. I'm so glad that everybody has joined today. It has been a very eventful year, and this makes a one-year anniversary of the meeting that we had last year to start this the PAC project, basically, and we're getting it moving forward. I'm so happy that everybody could join us today. This has been a very challenging year, but we have been making such a lot of ground, I should say, into this project. And it's so happy to see everybody here. And it's just gratitude today for all the hard work that we do as peers. With that being said, I'm going to pass it over to Ms. Carla Neely. Carla is a Recovery and Resilience Administrator for Aetna Better Health of Louisiana. Carla is a native of Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, who located to Baton Rouge in February 2012 to assume the position of Recovery and Resiliency Coordinator for Magellan. She created and implemented the Peer Support Whole Health and Resiliency Wellness Initiative and supported and helped grow the Louisiana Warm Line. Both initiatives were targeted to the peer community to support holistic health. Carla co-chairs the Aetna Better Health of Louisiana Advocacy Advisory Committee and works on projects as diverse as healthcare equity and expanding knowledge of accessibility, of peer support, and the incorporation practice of recovery and resiliency principles in a fully integrated system of care. I'm going to pass the mic over to Carla.
Good morning, everyone. Thank you for joining us. I'm Carla Neely, and I'm here to talk to you today about the history of the Louisiana Peer Action Advocacy Coalition. So, in 2008, the Office of Behavioral Health began looking into bringing peer support services to the state of Louisiana. They chose two entities, the Depression and Bipolar Support Alliance, or DBSA, and Recovery Innovations, which is now called Recovery International, to perform these trainings. The first year, approximately 20 peers were trained. OBH determined that they would continue working with RI, and by 2012, 143 peers had been trained. At that point, RI agreed to train local trainers, and to date, 5 local trainers and 600 peer specialists have been trained statewide. There is also a formal application process and a requirement for peer specialists to submit annual continuing education credits. In early February 2019, AJ Faria, a supervisor for AmeriHealth Caritas, and myself began meeting and talking about the state of peer support in Louisiana. Throughout these conversations with community partners, peer specialists, and other stakeholders, one thing became certain. There needed to be a unified voice dedicated to addressing and advancing the needs of peer specialists, peer support, and recovery on a statewide basis. In September of that same year, we approached the Mental Health Association of Greater Baton Rouge to become a fiduciary agent for the yet-to-be-formed peer-run organization. On December 11th of that year, the newly named Cheers for Peers organization held its first public event at the Rapides Parish Library in Alexandria. It was attended by 60 peers from around the state, and this event served to really reinforce the obvious need for such an organization to exist as an outlet for peers to voice their concerns and to unite to drive the discussion about the direction that peer support should grow in. The next Cheers for Peers event was held in February 2020 in Shreveport, 1 year from the time we first started having discussions. The COVID restrictions caused our next scheduled meeting, which would have been in South Louisiana, to be canceled, but virtual meetings were scheduled instead. And at this time, our organization changed its name to the Louisiana Peer Action Advocacy Coalition, or what you now know as LAPAAC. LAPAAC continued to hold virtual meetings throughout the summer of 2020, providing peers with opportunities to network, support each other, and participate in building our new peer-run organization. We are finishing out the year with this virtual anniversary event. During this time, we will introduce our mission and vision statements. I'm going to be reading them next, and later on, I'll be coming back to talk about our strategic plan for the coming year. So the mission statement is to unite peer specialists as one voice to promote and inspire the profession through advocacy, education, and employment. And the vision statement for LAPAAC is the Louisiana Peer Action Advocacy Coalition is an organization of professionals with behavioral health lived experience. LAPAAC envisions a healthier Louisiana where all peers are united in their voice for advocacy and are trained, certified, and acknowledged as a professional discipline in the healthcare continuum. LAPAAC is a driving force ensuring all Louisiana citizens have access to peer-delivered, recovery-oriented services throughout the state.
Thank you, Carla, so much for sharing that history. We are so grateful to all who have come before us and worked so many years for the advancement of the peer profession in Louisiana. My name is Angela Lorio, and I became a peer recovery support specialist in 2015. I knew that there was so much value in taking my greatest struggles of my life and turning that around in a positive way, to be able to look at someone in their eyes and say, I've been there. I am so excited that we have come to the point in the state that we now are forming a professional organization for peer support specialists. The Louisiana Peer Action Advocacy Coalition says it all, that we can move forward in unity with one voice, collectively being able to build relationships with state agencies and other private entities in the healthcare continuum for the advancement of peer support specialists in Louisiana. We all have different gifts and strengths as peers, and as we come together and use those for a common goal, it's going to be amazing. There is power in numbers. With advocacy, advocating for our pay rate, making more career pathways for meaningful employment opportunities as peer support specialists, and reducing the stigma, continually educating other professionals on the value of peers. So I am so excited for us to spread the word about LAPAAC, get involved, and move together forward as one. I am so excited also and privileged to introduce our keynote speaker for today, Brandy Izquierdo. She is the executive director of the SAFE Project and is a person in long-term recovery. Her drive and determination are built on making an impact within behavioral health, promoting long-term recovery, and ensuring communities are educated and have the tools necessary to combat the addiction epidemic. Before leading the SAFE Project team, Brandy worked for Faces and Voices of Recovery as the Director of Advocacy and Outreach. In addition, she served as the Associate Director of Special Populations with Behavioral Health System Baltimore, and as the Director of Consumer Affairs for the State of Maryland's Behavioral Health Administration. In these leadership roles, Brandy has led advocacy efforts to expand access to behavioral health services and recovery support services while providing technical assistance both nationally and internationally, empowering others within the recovery movement. Her ability to build relationships and bridge gaps within behavioral health, community services, and criminal justice has been a catalyst for global peer expansion. As a subject matter expert with the Center for Social Innovation, Policy Research Associates, SAMHSA, and the International Certification and Reciprocity Consortium, ICNRC, Brandy has made vast contributions within behavioral health and within the recovery movement around public policy, outreach, and workforce development. Additionally, Brandy has made significant impact within the judicial system, advocating for access to treatment and recovery, and is the principal investigator of Maryland's Integrated Forensic Peer Recovery Specialist curriculum. Brandy's passion for service work and knowledge of recovery support services extends beyond behavioral health. With a master's degree in public administration and a bachelor's degree in government and public policy, Brandy is currently working on her doctorate in public administration with a specialization in administrative justice. And this is an amazing thing that we are able to have Brandy today and to have her help us in Louisiana advance and elevate the profession of peer support specialists. Welcome, Brandy, and thank you for being here.
There we go. It's my turn, right? Sorry about that. I'm going to share my screen. If that is okay, give me one moment. How is everybody this morning? Thumbs up or good? Thumbs up. There we go.
Great.
Awesome. All right. Can everyone see the screen? Are we good to go? It's so interesting. First of all, I'll preface with, I get nervous as anything when I have to speak. It doesn't matter where I am, who I'm talking to. There's always that nervous component. And I like to put that out there first because it's real. It's me. It's who I am. I am going to share first. I'm excited. I put my shirt on today, and that shirt really goes out to us as peer support. Queen, know your worth. Always know your worth. And I think my job today is a keynote. I've never done a keynote on Zoom, but is really to get you pumped up and ready to go and learn some things as you move throughout this anniversary meeting. So with that, I think I'm going to go ahead, and I was really trying to figure out how I wanted to provide some education, but also provide kind of a look into my journey as a peer recovery specialist. So that's where I'm going to head today, if everyone's good with that. I'm going to try to work or read the room as I work the room, because that's what I do, right? All right, as I'm going to, Angela, right? Angela, I pronounced it correct? I'm getting there. So, you know, it's interesting. Anytime I hear my bio, I'm like, who is that? Who are they talking about? Because I will tell you right now, that is not where my journey started. I'm a person who is in long-term recovery, but I won't give you the active addiction story, but I dropped out of school in 10th grade. And that's why this shirt, for example, is so important to me, because even coming into this field and doing this work, I didn't understand what my worth was. So I'm going to walk you through a little bit of the journey, but first I'm going to give you an intro into what we're going to learn today, or hopefully learn. These are the messages I'm going to try to convey. One is, you know, identifying your personal assets that will assist in professional growth and development. The next is to understand the importance of moving outside of the bubble to enhance the professional work environment. And then finally, examining one voice and its value in addressing systems change. What I heard from the mission and vision statement is that you do want to change systems, but in order to change systems, we need to understand the systems. And I think that kind of gives a preface into my journey. So I'm going to start off by telling you a little bit about my story, because we all know that if you tell the story, you can change the world. Perhaps not all at once, but one person at a time, maybe inspiring someone to change their trajectory, to take a look inside their career path and where they want to go in the peer support movement. So just to quickly give you a recap, as a person in long-term recovery, again, I didn't start out, you know, with any type of accomplishment. I really felt like I was nothing. Going into the system in July of 2010, I do have criminal lived history. I remember DEA coming to my house and searching and seizing my home. Child Protective Services at the same time removed my children from my home. And my soon-to-be at the time ex-husband was granted access to the home, and I found myself homeless. I did not know what I was going to do. I just felt like I was nothing. In November of 2010, what I found out too was I had a warrant out for my arrest, and I had 5 felonies on that warrant, holding a lot of time. of course, one of my worst fears in active addiction was going to jail. So, the powers that be or the universe saw fit that I would have to face that fear. So in February of 2011, I was arrested in Carroll County, Maryland. I was let out there, but I was also rearrested for a probation violation in Adams County, Pennsylvania. And when I got out of all of that, which I really actually didn't get out of all of that, but when I got to a point of trying to clean up the wreckage of my past, I was still facing 11 years in Maryland in prison and 1.5 to 4 in upstate prison in Pennsylvania. And again, coming into this and coming into recovery, I didn't know, first of all, I didn't know anything about addiction or mental health. I didn't really think that I had a problem. As a matter of fact, when I got into the jail system, the only thing that I really wanted to do was get out. So what do? We work the systems, right? We worked the systems on the flip side when we were in active use or going through a mental health crisis. We knew how to work the systems. So I asked for treatment because I knew that that was your get out of jail free card, not realizing that it was going to completely change everything in my life. So in asking for treatment, I found myself in a treatment facility, and I learned about the disease of addiction, and I learned that I was not alone. I learned that there were other people that could see how broken I was. And what I learned through that process also was that I needed to start to strip away the mask. I needed to really find out who I was as a person, how I ended up here, and more importantly, how I was going to move forward. So what was happening at the time that I didn't realize was that I was being introduced to this thing called peer support in the workforce. I'm in the prison system, I'm in the treatment system. Things are bubbling up in this behavioral health world that I had no concept of, but I was introduced to this thing called, I know where you are. I can feel your pain. And that I really latched onto when I was in that treatment center. I'm just each of us helping each other, even in prison and jail. I would work with people and say, why are you here? What happened to you? And that was already organically happening. So when I got out of the treatment center, the first thing that I was taught was it's service work. We give back. It's always about giving back in the system, right? Or it's always about giving back in our recovery community. And that honestly is where that journey began. March 11th, 2011, that was the first day without a drink or a drug. Uh-oh, Catherine looks excited about that. I'm reading her face. And she has shaved legs and she's lotioned up, so she's feeling good today, right? And then it was interesting because when I got out of jail, my first response was to give back. So I would go back to treatment centers and I would work with women. And every single time I'd go back to that treatment center and work with women, I felt like I was unemployable, but I was working at a wing place. I will tell you, I was the best damn cashier there was at this wing place, America's Best Wings. I could make lemon pepper wings like there was no tomorrow. And I was the most friendly cashier that you could ever meet because I had this level of gratitude in me just for someone even giving me a chance. It was really a humbling situation. But on my time off, I would go back to this treatment center and I would say, how do I get a job here? And I would ask and I would ask and I would ask. And then finally, you got to be careful what you ask for, because finally one day I go back into this treatment center and they said, well, we can give you an on-the-spot interview. I about crapped my pants. I'm like, I am not ready for this. I don't know what I'm doing. I have no idea. But I will tell you, I sat in front of that director and I poured my heart out with passion about how I wanted to do this work, how I wanted to do something in this system to really help change the trajectory of the behavioral health system, because there are a lot of parts of it that are broken. I didn't know what I was going to do or how I was going to do it, but I knew I wanted to do it. And I remember her sitting there and saying to me, asking me the question, where do you see yourself in 5 years? Now, mind you, I had nothing to lose. So I kind of, for lack of a better word, ballsed up and said, I want to see myself in your seat, right? I wasn't joking. I really did. I mean, that was my hope. Did I think it was going to, anything like that was going to happen? No, but I had nothing to lose. Needless to say, I did not get that job. It was not, it was because I didn't have enough recovery time under my belt. But what did happen was she saw a fire in me, a fire that I didn't even see in myself. And she called me back and she said, I can't hire you because of policy. But what I can do is tell you about this thing called peer support. She said, the health department is hiring for this thing called peer support, and I think that you should apply. So I did that because I truly believe that the universe works for some reason or another, and your path and your stepping stones are being laid out in front of you. I'm not quite sure how or why, but the one thing that we're taught in recovery is to keep coming back, to keep doing the next right thing for the next right reason. So I came back and I said, you know what? I'm going to apply for this thing called peer recovery. And I'll tell you, it was a government job. And the government job, if all of you know how the governmental systems work, the government job was closed already. So I took it upon myself to find the secretary who worked in the health department. And I said, hey, I'd like to send my resume over along with a cover letter. And again, I poured my heart out in that cover letter. And she called me back and she said, I don't know what you said in that letter, but they want to interview you. And I will tell you, sitting at that table being interviewed, then now mind you, this is the same exact place that I was locked up, the same exact place where my children were taken from me, and the same exact place where I was homeless. And I remember sitting at that table, and after that interview, and even during the interview, tearing up and crying and saying, I don't know if you can hire me. I mean, this is a state job. I have a felony on my record. I don't know if you can hire me, but I will tell you now that I'm just truly grateful for the opportunity. And at the same time, I left the building, and I'm a huge person about music. I love music, and it's very inspiring to me. And I'm going to sing for you because I will tell you, I was driving down that road and Alicia Keys came on. This girl is on fire. All right, that's the best you're going to get from me. I don't quit my day job. But I will tell you, they called me that day, later that day, and said, you're hired. And it was on. You know, it was on. I said, okay, this is great. Now, mind you, at the time, they were still developing the certified peer recovery specialist in the state of Maryland, where I'm from. But what's an interesting fact about all of that is I was still on probation and I had never, ever traveled, ever. And I remember when I got hired at the health department, my boss said, do you want to go to Louisiana? Right? And I was like, you're kidding me. I said, shut up, you know, because I never thought I'd leave my state, you know? And she was serious. And she said, we're going to Louisiana. Now, I will tell you, all my Louisiana folks, I'm not too keen on alligator balls. But I did try them while I was there. They were interesting, a little smushy. In Baltimore, we put ranch on them. Anyway, so that was my first traveling experience, you know, working at the health department. And the second travel experience was them asking me, well, obviously they knew some of my experience. They knew about me losing my kids. They knew about my criminal justice history, my lived experience there. So I ended up getting placed in drug court and working for drug court, which was great. I was on the flip side, of course, always a little nervous, you know, dealing with law enforcement. Wasn't too fond of the police at the time or court systems, but I was willing to do what it took. So, you know, working at the health department, they said, well, they have this thing called the drug court symposium that they do every year from the NADCP. Would you like to go? I said, absolutely. So at the time it was in DC. So my other colleague, my peer, and myself went to this drug court. Going to the drug court, we were not on the agenda as peers. We were not even a thought as peers at this drug court symposium or this drug court conference. And I remember leaving that drug court conference and saying to my colleague, we're going to be there next year. And I came back to the health department and I told the higher ups, I said, we're going to be there next year. And they laughed at me. And now, mind you, during this entire journey, I said, well, I need to go back. I really want to get my associate's degree. I really want to go back to college. My main goal, I really want to go get my bachelor's. So I'm going to start off one class at a time. I'm going to take my recovery skills and I'm going to apply them to my education. Now, during all of this time, as I'm doing this, I'm in English class and I'm learning how to write, and I'm learning how to write abstracts, right? So the call for proposals for this drug court came the next year, a couple months later after it finished. And when the call for proposal came, I decided I'm going to put an abstract in. Just try. Again, what do I have to lose? I have nothing to lose. And everyone laughed at me. So here's the 2013 drug court we were at. We were sitting in the back. We were afterthought, So again, I'm still on probation. And this next conference is in Anaheim, California. Well, I took my skills and I really, Google is my best friend. I learned how to write an abstract, and I wrote this abstract, pouring my heart out. And what happened? 2014, our proposal was accepted. I will tell you, it ignited something in me that I had never experienced before, because for once in my life, I felt like I had some kind of capability to do something. I have felt like I had a capability of changing systems, and that was exciting to me. Now, the interesting part about all of that is I really wanted this conference to be a big production. Peers were on the scene in Anaheim, California. We were talking to judges, lawyers. I wanted this to be special. So the higher up said, well, use your cell phone to make a video. I'm like, what? A cell phone? Are you kidding me? Well, we don't have it in our budget to do anything else. Now, I am a mover and a shaker. I will say that perhaps not taking this advice is maybe good, maybe not. But I did not know at the time. I didn't know the system. So I wrote to the director of the Office of the Problem Solving Courts for the state of Maryland asking for money, right? I said, hey, we have this thing. We could be the first on the scene in Maryland. This would be great. You could use this video production for the entire state. Would you give me $5,000 to hire a videographer? Well, my bosses at the time really didn't know I was doing that. I was just doing my thing, trying to change systems. And I got that $5,000. I will say that. I got a slap on the wrist for, you should probably have, gone up the chain. So I learned that lesson. But from there, I realized that anything is possible if you really put your heart into it. And we are not just peers. We are movers. We are shakers. Sometimes we'll be perceived as troublemakers. But we are peers, and we have a valuable lived experience that we can share with the world. And that's what I learned through that process. And it really got me to a point where when I got to that conference, a Texas judge heard my presentation and invited us back to present at the Texas judiciary. So again, I was off and running, and it was all based on just being inspired and motivated by people in recovery, because the people in recovery taught me to be who I am, taught me to be authentic and true, and they taught me how to keep pushing no matter what. And from there, I got to this point, I was continuing on with my education, and I talk about this quote because I felt that if I could educate myself, that I could educate my family. And my family, and what I'm talking about, not only my immediate family, my blood family, but I'm talking about my recovery family. We have to educate ourselves in some shape or form, because what happens in peer support, we get involved in this thing, but we don't know the systems. We have to learn the systems if we want to change the systems. It's about infiltrating those systems. And I say that because you talk about, Angela, you had talked about, changing or figuring out your pathway to recovery or your pathway of professional development, right? They're all different avenues for peers. We can still hold our certification, our credential, our certificate, just like an LCSW, a social worker, a licensed clinical professional. It doesn't mean that we have to do direct services. We can do all types of things. And I think we need to put that in the forefront because it's up to us to determine how our career path is going to be elevated. Okay. So I'm going to tell you just a quick story. I was still working at the health department. And I remember this pregnant woman coming into me and sitting down, and she was still using heroin. She was actively using. And she told me, she said, Brandy, I can't stop using. And I said to her, my hands are tied. I cannot get you into treatment right now. You want to know why? Because of policy. Because of policy and because of barriers and because of challenges, I had to look this pregnant woman in the eye, knowing she was going to go back out and use, and tell her there's nothing I can do but love you. That is all I can do for you right now. And that hurt me to my core, because every single time I would do something to try to assist an individual, I would be bumped up against policies and procedures and challenges and barriers. And I said, you know what? I made the connection that people make policy. People can change policy. People can change systems. You just need the right people at the table. And what I sought out to do, I changed my entire educational path from social work, which is our typical, and counseling, over to policy. And I went through and I said, I'm going to forge ahead and I'm going to get this degree in public policy. So I did. I said, because I need to know these systems if I want to change them, because I couldn't talk the talk. I couldn't walk the walk. And I sure as hell wasn't being invited to the tables, because again, I was a mover and shaker, known as a troublemaker, right? So I had to change those policies, and it really just came to me that that was what my calling was. Everyone's going to have a different calling. Everyone's going to have a different path, but this was my path. So I say that to let you know, there were stepping stones along the way. I had to build relationships, and I did that, and we do that organically as peers. We have this charisma, this empathetic way about us that we can really build relationships. It's what we do. It's who we are. So again, I started out as a peer recovery specialist in the Carroll County Health Department. And by building those relationships and saying, hey, I need to be at this table. Why are you talking about us without us there? And I would invite myself to these tables and say, hey, do you mind if I come? And what are they going to do? Say no? They might. Okay, fine. But it's going to be real uncomfortable for them to say no. How can you support peers if you're not going to let us be at the table? So from there, there was a job that was open at the Behavioral Health Administration for the state of Maryland. And I got a call and said, hey, this person said, hey, Brandy, you should really apply for this. Again, I was not a queen and I had no idea what my worth was. So I was real apprehensive to do that. I was like, I don't think I qualify. I don't think I qualify. And I had you all, my people, my community surrounding me say, you absolutely do. Again, what do you have to lose? You have nothing to lose. So I'm going to sing again, because I went down for that interview. And my other go-to song is Eminem, right? You only get one shot. Do not miss your chance to blow. This opportunity comes once in a lifetime. Once in a lifetime. And I said to myself, you know what? I got nothing to lose. I'm going to be authentic and true to who I am. And damn if I didn't get that job. I was shocked. I didn't know what to do with it. I didn't know where I was going or how I was going to do it. But I knew the entire time I had to continue to educate myself. And these arrows represent every single time I gained a little tad bit more of knowledge about the systems. I then moved over and I said, you know what? I said, I'm understanding these budgets. I'm understanding how funding is. I'm understanding grants, contracts, all this stuff that's involved in the system. You know, and the whole time everyone's telling me, you're just a peer support. You're just a peer support. Okay, well, this just peer support is going to learn some things. I'm going to learn some things. And I followed the money and I went over to the local behavioral health authority because I know how funding works. And I knew if I wanted to make a change, I had to follow the money, not my personal money. I'm talking about the funding in the systems because money talks. So I said, you know what? There's an associate director position. And I had not had my master's degree yet. I was actually working on my master's at the time. And typically you have to have a master's to qualify for that position. And I told them, I said, just believe in me. I can do this. And it was a specialization in criminal justice. It was targeting populations in criminal justice. So I had the lived experience and I made my case. Now, I kind of, I thought about it and I'm like, man, I'm going from a director to an associate director. You know, that happens internally. For me, it does anyway. Do I really want that title change? Is the power good enough? You know, all that crap. And I said, you know what, Brandy, this isn't about any of that. This again is about learning systems and changing systems. And what I learned through that is I learned how to oversee treatment. I was actually in charge of the mental health substance use court systems and treatment beds and contracts. Now, don't get me wrong, I hated that job. But I will tell you, I learned a lot about that job. I know how HIDA funding works. I can talk the talk. I know how provider settings work. I know how contracts work. And again, I took a little tidbit of knowledge and I kept moving. And I said, you know what? I want to do something nationally. I want to do something on the legislative level. I want to talk to Congress. I want to change these systems on a macro level. So what I did is I went back and I said, I actually approached Faces and Voices. I said, hey, if anything ever comes up, I'm here. Just know I'm here. Here's my experience. And I'm not sure if you all are familiar with the ORN or the STR, State Targeted Response or Opioid Response Network. This is where a lot of the funding comes from right now. Yep, Catherine knows. I told them that I know about that because I helped write the grant for Maryland. And because of that little tidbit of experience, they hired me to oversee the STR-ORN grant for Faces and Voices of Recovery. Now, what I realized through that process is this is not all about just recovery. We have a whole system out there that we need to infiltrate. We have a whole system that we have to work with. When I talk about moving beyond your bubble and beyond your recovery bubble, what I mean by that is we have to understand how other people see things in the system. So because of that, there was this new position for a safe project, Stop the Addiction Fatality Epidemic. And again, I said, hey, can't hurt. You know, it's an executive leadership position. I probably won't get it. I don't know what happened, but I got it. Again, authentic and true. I had no idea at the time that I was interviewing for that position for the former vice chair of the Joint Chiefs of Staff of the United States of America. What I did know was this man was a parent who lost his child. And I looked at him as a father and I cared because that's what we do. We're empathetic and we care. And that was my stepping stone to get me to that point. The entire time, I knew in order for me to increase my knowledge, I also had to increase my education. So after I got my bachelor's degree, I don't know how crazy I was or still am. I said, hey, why not try to go get my doctorate? Can't hurt. I'm still questioning that. I'm in the tail end of it. I'm getting ready to do my dissertation. But again, what I'm doing my dissertation on is organizational development and peer implementation in organizational settings. I say all that to say this. we pave the path for each other. You know, we need to be in all areas of the system working through this process, but we also need to have a collective voice. And that's why, to me, it's so exciting. I know there's my, just to give you living proof, there are my mug shots. And then that's when I got my master's degree. I actually went in to get a cup of coffee and it said rising. I was like, oh, that's an awesome photo moment. The nice part about even getting my master's, I was able to be, again, the recovery community surrounded around me and said, you should try to be the graduate speaker. I was like, I don't know about that. I wrote the speech and I actually I was the graduate speaker. So there, even I was able to present around peer support and addiction services and why we do this work. And I got to meet Betsy DeVoe, who we'll table that. But pushed back on her and said administrations do change. So I'm not too worried about your policies right now. Anyway, again, I had nothing to lose. But I say all that, again, like I said, to say this. We cannot look at ourselves as just peers. We are the foundation of the continuum of care. We are the ones with the lived experience who can educate the systems. We can educate the systems by pointing out why they're broken, and we can educate the systems by proposing change. So I'm going to show you something. When I first started out, I wasn't sure how my personal skills could morph into my profession. So I started taking a look at it and really analyzing it. You know, and somebody said, are you a leader? Do you have leadership experience? I keep my kids on track. I have 4 kids that are back in my life now. I keep them on track. So you're damn right. I'm a leader. I am a leader. I write emails and household letters on a consistent basis. So I'm a good writer. I know how to map out a trip to the grocery store and to get gas so my ice cream doesn't melt. I am a strategic thinker. I have to-do lists all over my house, post-it note after post-it note. You know why? Because I'm a planner. My husband called me on the side of the road saying, babe, you need to come pick me up. I ran out of gas on my motorcycle. I was angry, but I'm a manager of crisis. And I will tell you, in my active addiction days and even in jail, I could work a floor like there was no tomorrow and come out with really authentic relationships. I am a networker. My personal assets become my professional growth. I've been able to turn what I've been able to do organically in my personal life into professional growth. And I keep that mindset because there are many a times, and even today, doing this keynote, you know, there's this imposter syndrome that creeps up on me. I don't know what I'm doing. I'm not worthy. I don't think I can. Anxiety goes through the roof. I'm smelling my hands, hoping that I can get this stress lotion up my nose to just get through the day. But I will tell you, I have to tell myself on a consistent basis that I can do this. I am worth it. And as we're working through this process as one voice, you're going to find a lot of barriers and challenges, but you as a unit need to speak up and speak out and support each other, because you all are worth more than the behavioral health system will ever embrace. And it's important for us to know that, because there are going to be difficult times. But we also have to know how to think outside of the box, or preferably throw the damn box away. This system is so antiquated. This system is so old and outdated that we need to throw the box away and be innovative and creative, right? I mean, that's just, and if we're known as troublemakers and disruptors, then that's what we are. There's something positive about that. And as long as we keep that message in the forefront, that there is something positive about being a troublemaker or a disruptor, then we're doing our job. So I'm going to give you a little bit of my career path where I always would tell myself, the one thing you have to always tell yourself, don't ask yourself, why not? Always ask yourself, why not me? Why can't I do that? How am I any different? Why am I not deserving of this? I started off thinking, can I even lead a professional meeting? Yes, I can. And yes, you can. Can I be a president of a board? I would have never thought in a million years that I would have been the president of the certification board. I'm just a peer. Yes, I can. Can I develop programs? Who would have thought? I'm sitting there waiting for someone else to build the criminal justice forensic training so that us peers can be educated when the education lies within. I will tell you, the forensic ethics component was written right in my bathtub. Right in my bathtub, because I cannot wait for someone else to do this. People are dying. Our people are dying. So we need to step up to the plate. So can I develop programs? Yes, I can. Oh, Brandy, you'll never be able to deal with budgets. You don't know anything about budgets. Well, you know what? I oversaw the HIDA funding, high intensity drug traffic funding. Yes, I can. Do I know it going in? No, but I'm going to learn. Someone's going to teach me, and then I'm going to teach someone else. We paved the way. I never realized that I could actually lead credentialing services. I'm just a peer. I don't know anything about all these other credentials. Well, they don't know anything about us. Yes, I can. And yes, I will. This nonprofit that I run, oh my goodness. Be careful what you ask for when you're in leadership role, because I will tell you, it's not always a cup of tea and not everyone is going to receive you well, but that's okay. I am learning every day something new about running a nonprofit, a national nonprofit organization. And I'm just a peer. Yes, you can. Yes, you can. And I will tell you, never in a million years did I learn or did I know that my collective experience would get me invited to the presidential transition team. Not once, twice. Twice. But I didn't, none of this was out of luck. All of this was about building my pathway, but also never losing sight of the fact that I am a peer. I am a peer. First and foremost, I am a peer. I will always be a peer. I will always be a person in recovery, and I will lead through that lens. Yes, we can. Angela, you like my little megaphone there? It's great, right? Yeah. I saw this and I said, oh, this is great. And then I added a little extra sauce to it with the one voice. The reality for us is, and I'm going to walk away with a couple little educational tidbits here. You all are doing great things. I will tell you from my own personal experience running peer support and being part of peer support in Maryland and helping other states, the one thing that always fails is there's not a united one voice. And there has to be. Yes, are you all going to have different opinions? Absolutely. Are you going to have different thoughts in the way you do things? And are you going to bring different assets to the table? Absolutely. But at the end of the day, when you're approaching organizations, you must have one voice. And it has to be loud, and it has to be proud, and it has to not ever stop. Never lose momentum. So I know I'm probably running out of time here, right? Because I'm good. Okay. So I want to tell you, from my own experience and the experience of other organizations, strength comes in numbers. With one twig and trying to talk, we're breakable. We can be pushed aside. We can be, people will appease us just to check the box. Oh, we have someone in recovery there. Check the box. We are not just to check the box. We are the box. We make the box. We break the box. Always be at the table and always understand that, you can either be on a national level, you can be on a service level, you can be on a systems level. Everyone is equal in that change. Everyone. You're going to have peers in your organization that are going to say, I'm not outspoken, I'm not loud, I like to deal with people one-on-one. They are just as important as the one who's going to the Capitol. Just as important. They are the boots on the ground that take that information and funnel it up. And then you have some of the ones that are louder. I'm one of those louder ones sometimes. I have to stretch myself. But I do not lose sight of where I came from. And I will tell you, everyone in our system is valuable because I don't know everything that's happening boots on the ground. I'm not talking to that pregnant woman directly anymore, but my friends and colleagues are, and we have to share that information because whether you're working with law enforcement, treatment providers, recovery support, or you're trying to change state agencies, court systems, community interest groups, legislators, everyone has to work collectively together. And you all are creating this hub and spoke model to do that. So it's important to stay focused on that. Identify the assets that each of you bring to the table. Some of you may be a good writer. Some of you may be good at strategic planning. Others may be good at public speaking. Whatever it is, internally identify yourselves so that you can capitalize on each other's assets as you move forward. And then finally, just quickly, I'm going to give you some principles of change that I found. And also I told you my work, even in my dissertation, which I like to use to apply, is change. I'm actually writing my dissertation on change theory because it takes a village. Not only we may have these great ideas, but how are we going to implement them? And you have to start with the human side systematically. As I mentioned, transformation causes disruption. It's called force equilibrium. So you're going to have people on the negative side and on the positive side. You're going to want to transition people over to the positive side, but that's going to take a lot of work and a lot of planning. Changing systems is not easy, but it's doable. Leaders must embrace the new approach first, both to challenge and motivate the rest of the institution. So I know we can talk amongst ourselves, as peers, this needs to change or that needs to change, but we also need to get leadership involved. It's a bottom-up, top-down approach. So while one's working the bottom approach, the other one needs to work the top approach so you can meet in the middle and change things. Identify leaders throughout the organization to push the responsibility for design and implementation down so it cascades. It has to be a ripple effect. But you also have to make sure that you're holding systems accountable. If they say they're going to change, if they say they're going to do something, don't stop till they do. Keep asking them, well, what about that? What about that? And make sure that you document everything. So you have a clear case of what's working, what's not working, and why. Make the formal case. You always have to confront reality and articulate a convincing need for change. I will tell you, when I went into law enforcement and was trying to develop that curriculum, I knew why it needed to be done. I needed law enforcement to know why it needed to be done. And for them, it wasn't really about peer support or recovery at the time. It was about public safety. So I went in from that end. I knew what my end game was. I knew what my roadmap was, but I had to make sure I knew what their roadmap was too, because we have to meet people where they are. We have to move outside of that recovery bubble. We can't just say, hey, I'm going to meet you where you are because you're in recovery. I'm going to meet you where you are because perhaps you know something or I know something, and maybe it's different. But we have to meet people where they are and start to move them in that right direction. Create ownership. You have these meetings, every once in a while, bring a behavioral health provider or a treatment provider or law enforcement into the system. I don't know what those lines are. Am I the only one seeing them? No, everybody seeing them? Okay. Ownership is often best created by involving people, identifying the problem, and crafting a solution. We cannot go to the table and say, here are the problems, without actually proposing a solution. And that's where LAPAAC comes in. You all have the fortitude and the capability and the capacity to build solutions. And quite frankly, a lot of times providers and nonprofits don't always have the time because they are driving a mission and they can't go off of the path of their mission. But if you propose something to them, they're more likely to actually move in that direction because the work's done for them. Finally, communicate the message. I have learned this through the process that not everyone knows what we're talking about. So we have to communicate the message and make sure that the receiver is getting the message that we are conveying. And we have to be consistent about our messaging. We can't have Laura over here saying one thing and Aaron over here saying something different, but you're both part of LAPAAC. Can't do that. There has to be one voice. Have all your fights behind closed doors because trust me, there will be some, but love each other no matter what and keep coming back. Identify the core values and belief systems of the systems that you're trying to infiltrate. You have to understand the cultural landscape. For example, you have to understand maybe the political climate of SAMHSA if you want to approach SAMHSA. You have to understand the political or the cultural climate of a nonprofit organization in a community. Things are different. So the more you understand the cultural lens, the better off you are in developing solutions and moving the systems forward. You know, develop that baseline. Okay, here's where culture is now. And I'll speak now of law enforcement or criminal justice. That culture is very antiquated. It's very ingrained in its process and flow. So I need to really figure out, if I'm here, how do I get them here? I need to understand and devise a plan that if I want something to change and I want them to accept and embrace peer support, how am I going to get them there? It's not going to be as easy as saying, here we are, let us help. We have to do something to understand where they are and where they're going. Always prepare for the unexpected. There are going to be times, especially as an advocacy movement organization, where things are not going to go your way. That bill is not going to pass. Perhaps you're going to have some setbacks. Perhaps COVID's going to hit, right? This was totally unexpected. And I will tell you, there are a lot of strategic plans that have not shifted into this, but we have the opportunity to grow and grow through the lessons learned of the unexpected. So know that you're going to have to pivot, adopt, and change. You may not get everything that you want, but it's all about negotiation and maybe getting a little tidbit of what you want. So then you can start the fight again. It's about winning the war, not the battle. Always remember that. And then speak to individuals. You know, in the recovery movement, there's a lot of resentment and a lot of infighting. Just talk to people, not behind each other's backs. Just talk to people. Hey, I heard you said this, or you said this to me. What did you mean by that? Can we talk about that? Because the only way that you would, as a recovery community and a recovery organization, that you're going to stay unified is if you practice your recovery principles that you have learned and that you provide out in the community, if you practice them as an organization. And we quite often forget that. There are power trips. There's all types of different dynamics when you're coming as an organization. And then finally, you know, what I've also realized through this process is that even we have something called MPAC, which is Maryland Peer Advisory Council. So it's a collective unit, very similar to what LAPAAC is doing. We get really hyped up at conferences like this or anniversary meetings. We're like, yeah, we're going to do this. Everyone goes back to their community and it's crickets. No one holds each other accountable. When you're doing your strategic plan, when you're putting things into place, make sure that you're creating timelines, assigning tasks, and holding each other accountable. Because nothing changes if nothing changes. And it's up to us to make that change. So you have to hold each other accountable and keep that momentum going. and celebrate your successes and also celebrate your failures, because failures are growth and opportunity. It educates you. And to end, like I said, just going through my journey, if I waited for someone else to make the change, nothing would have ever happened. If you see a need, if you see a problem, come up with a solution. Don't wait for treatment providers. Don't wait for state funding. Figure out ways to work through it, to bust through those barriers, to bust through those challenges, and don't wait for others to make the change. It's time for you to step up and be that change. You are the people. You are the essence of why we do this work. You are the product of success. So keep that in mind. And hey, thanks for letting me share.
Thank you so much, Brandy, for sharing your story and telling us your message today. It was really needed. So we all need to learn to be the change.
Yes.
It is time to stand up and work full-fledged in getting this and going forward, because we need to be recognized as a discipline in this state. We are owed that because we work hard to get to where we are today. So be that change and continue to be that change. And with that being said, I want to turn it over to Laura to get us into our breakout. Or is it
We're gonna have some question and answer real quick
I'm
before
sorry.
we go to our. No, that's okay.
Okay.
AJ,
Does anyone have any?
move on.
Brandy's not off the hook yet. So if you want to.
So anybody have questions for Brandy?
Don't be shy.
There's none in the chat yet, so you can either write it in the chat or just ask. This is the place to do it. Ask what you've always wanted to know.
Hey, can y'all hear? So I don't really have a question as much as I want to commend Brandy on her presentation. So, in the last 10, 11 years between the fire service and always in classes and conferences and everything that I do here, I've seen a lot of guest speakers. Very rarely am I sitting here and I'm like, man, even if I was in a crowded room, I'd feel like you were talking directly to me. And I'm like, why is she hitting me like this? Like it was just very, very relatable. And I really appreciate everything that you brought to the table for us. Thank you.
Thanks, Adam. And I was talking to you. I'm just saying.
Yeah, I know it.
Do we have any more questions for Brandy?
If you don't have any more questions, Angela, I will send you the PowerPoint just so that you have that perhaps as a guidance piece. Nick saw the pictures. I like pictures. I think they're more personable. And of course I always have notes, but I riff. I try to do that whole teleprompt thing. It doesn't work too well for me. I just speak from the heart and you never know what's going to come. So I'll just send the PowerPoints to you and perhaps you could use that as part of your infrastructure on principles of change.
Thank you, Brandy.
All right.
Awesome.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Brandy. Thank you.
And I am coming back to
Yeah, we have to do the thank you.
Thank you. I'm coming back to Louisiana, so when I do, I'll look y'all up.
Hey, come on down.
Yes, indeed.
So I'm gonna turn it over to Laura to get us prepared for our breakout sessions.
I believe we're a couple of minutes early, so if y'all want to take a quick break, and Amanda, correct me if this is not right, but we're all winging it all together. And what a fabulous thank you again, helping us think and believe in the one voice for LAPAAC, Brandy, and coming to our table today. Come back. If we could come back, and you will be randomly put in 4 breakout rooms, and we have 4 great volunteer ambassadors who will lead our discussion for about 10 minutes. We're going to do a little networking and icebreaker fun, as well as prep a little bit for our strategic plan this afternoon and talk about committees and get involved. So stay tuned, come back, and thank you for being here.
Laura, are we taking a break?
Yes, we are taking a break at 11:15. Come back to the breakout room where the host has sent you.
I'm not sure everybody could hear that, but I'll go ahead and send a message to everybody. So
Thanks. I sent them messages as well, but thank you for helping.
you did. So so they were supposed to take a break and at 11:15 come back to the breakout room.
Exactly. That was on the agenda too.
Okay.
And maybe if we put it up, I don't know. Thank you.
Can anyone hear me?
Yes, this is Amanda with the conference. Is there with the meeting? Can I help you with something?
I didn't get put into a breakout session.
Oh, goodness. All right. I can see that. I am sending you to a room right now.
Thank you.
Surely.
Welcome back, everybody. The breakout rooms were really, I know for the one I was in, I got to talk to some wonderful, colleagues, and it was beautiful. Any feedback that you guys want to share from your breakout room? Let's not all talk at once,
Well, I just wanted to say, like, also thank God for Zoom, because you really do get to see people you haven't seen in ages.
Yes. I was going to say the exact thing, Carla. I just saw 2 of my classmates from my peer class, and it is so great to watch everybody come together as one voice.
It's
So,
wonderful to see people.
Yeah. I agree. It really is wonderful to see other peer support people. Because like I said, in my breakout group, I don't have any peer support people where I work. So it's great to see people like Carla that I see, that I usually see every peer meeting, and just other familiar faces.
Carla, I see your smiling face, and I'm reminded of our first training back in 2012.
Hey, Roy, long time no see.
Good seeing you.
It's great to hear from you, though.
Always around.
Yes, you are.
All righty.
Hey, Roy.
Well, thank everybody for you guys participating in the breakout rooms. We're going to move along on the agenda. We have Patrick Hendry that's going to talk about peer organizations and strategic plans. Patrick is the Vice President of the Peer Advocacy Supports and Services for Mental Health America. He has experienced life. He has experienced life with a psychiatric diagnosis, both personally and as a parent of a child with lived experience. Patrick provides national advocacy and develops new services and training for peers within the behavioral health system. Throughout his work, he has focused on human rights, social inclusion, peer support, and peer-provided services, and peer-run organizational development. Patrick has led Mental Health America's development of the first advanced level national peer support certification, amen on that one, which maintains the highest standards of skills, education, and training in the nation. He is the recipient of Mental Health America's Clifford Beers Award, SAMHSA's Voice Award for Peer Leadership, and the National Council for Behavioral Health's Inspiring Hope. He is also Reintegration Lifetime Achievement. He also has received the Reintegration of Lifetime Achievement Award. Patrick has worked in behavioral health for 29 years and continues to be passionate about his work. I'm going to turn it over to Patrick.
Hi, I'm Patrick Hendry. I'm Vice President for Peer Advocacy Supports and Services at the National Office of Mental Health America, and I'm really glad to be here today. What can we say about this year? That we're glad it's almost over. It's certainly been one of the strangest years in our lives, and for many of us, the most horrible. But we can say one really good thing, and that is your success in building LAPAAC. Building a peer organization that can represent the advocacy issues of an entire state isn't easy. Building a statewide organization that is designed for success is also not easy. And convening a group of peer advocates from around a state and figuring out how to design an organization in a way to best prepare it for success is perhaps the most difficult part of all. As peers, our priorities can be as individual as our personal paths to recovery. We can't expect that in such a diverse group, we will all agree on the importance of each specific issue, and nor should we. It's our accumulated perspectives and our knowledge that are the power behind the peer movement. When we come together to form an advocacy organization that represents the interests of peers across the state, our first priority is to agree on our broad mission and to agree that we will rarely agree on every decision made by the group, but we do agree that being part of the group makes us stronger as advocates. Most of us come into this work because of our personal experience and our passion to make the world a better place. We want to help, We want to fix what's broken in the behavioral health system. We want to shake up a system that has all too frequently attempted to make us fit into services that we don't want and that we don't need. We bring that passion, that pain, and that power with us. And so we come together as a group of individuals with our own unique experiences and our own unique sense of purpose. Coming together may mean we do not immediately address each person's unique goals, but it does mean that we discover what goals and ideas we have in common. Unity is powerful. By agreeing to function as a group, we become stronger. Our voice becomes louder. And if we carefully design the structure and the face of our organization, we are recognized as a serious movement that can help reimagine our tired system of care and have a major say in building a new, more compassionate, more effective system that helps more people find their way to recovery. When it comes to behavioral health services, peer support is a profession. It is unique. No other workforce can replace what we do. We have the professional requirements of experience, specialized training, examinations, ongoing education, and in 47 states, we have required certification. Our organization should promote that professionalism without ever moving away from our roots and lived experience. We're not clinicians and we cannot be replaced by clinicians. We are as necessary to an effective behavioral health system of care as any other workforce. And in fact, we're probably more necessary. In order to create an effective peer organization, we need more than our passion and lived experience. We need to design these organizations for success. At the forefront of that design is our commitment to building cooperation. And secondly, is the need for effective planning, strategic planning. In order to do effective strategic planning, we must combine our mission with the unmet needs of our communities and develop a step-by-step plan that sets both long and short-term goals and that identifies the steps necessary to achieve them. Our plans need to have measurable actions that can inform us throughout the course of the plan about whether or not we're actually accomplishing the purpose of the plan and moving towards our goals. Strategic planning requires an understanding of not only the mission and assets of an organization, it also requires an in-depth understanding of the community, its unmet needs, and of the existing system of care. It requires building alliances with other organizations and then taking all of that information and building a detailed one-year action plan with more generalized plans for the following years. Strategic planning is how we know that what we're doing is valuable and doable. It tells us when we are meeting our goals and when we need to adjust our plans in order to meet the needs of a constantly changing landscape in behavioral health. The building of LAPAAC and the development of your strategic plan is a great accomplishment. It's a huge accomplishment, one whose benefits will be felt by peers for years to come. It's an accomplishment you should feel proud of. This is not an easy task. But remember, the development of the plan is just the beginning of your journey as an organization. Your plan is a roadmap to a place no one has ever been. Follow it, and you'll succeed in your commitment to improving the behavioral health care system. So I really want to say a heartfelt congratulations on your patience and strength in coming together to ensure that the peer voice is heard. You know, for many years, I've worked trying to help organizations around the country, peer-run organizations, find their way. And people come from various parts. They come from rural areas, suburban areas, urban areas. And in all cases, they have specific needs that may or may not be the same. But what they do and what peers are so good at is working together to make that commitment, to accomplish those plans, and to increase the quality of the treatment that we all need and deserve. So congratulations on building your strategic plan and your organization, and I look forward to following your future success. Thanks for indulging me, and thank you for letting me just be a small part of your plan. Thank you.
Good afternoon, everyone. I'm back again to discuss the LAPAAC strategic plan for 2021. So a group of us met on the 21st of October to develop a strategic plan and also a mission and vision statement. I read them over again earlier in the session that I did. So this afternoon, we're back to give everybody an overview of the strategic plan. So what we came up with was 4 different categories that we wanted to focus on in the coming year. And those categories were advocacy and education, governance and organization, membership and communication, and fundraising and financials. So to start with advocacy and education, as you can see here, we broke the year down into 3 parts: January to April, May to August, and September through December of 2021. So for advocacy and education, what we want to focus on is the December, we put the December event, this event today, we put that in there. We want to participate in the MHA Public Policy Summit, and that'll be taking place on March 25th, 2021. We also want to put forward a slate of peer support specialist trainings or presentations at the upcoming Mental Health Association conference. So you may have already gotten some information about that, a request for presentations. If anyone is interested in presenting at the MHA conference, which will be held in the spring of 2021, you can get in touch and they'll let you know what you have to do that. So from May through August 2021, we want to establish regular meetings, which we've already kind of done. We don't know whether they'll be virtual or in person, but that's something that we want to do. And we want every one of those meetings to have a component where we're offering some continuing education credits. And the other thing we want to focus on in the second trimester is to set up a LAPAAC CEU calendar where anyone can go and look and see upcoming trainings geared towards peer specialists and peer support. And those resources will be included throughout the state. And that's something else that we're going to be asking for your help in setting up. We want people to contribute different trainings, whether they be in person again or online, that you know about that might be helpful and help other peers around the state to meet their CEU requirements at the end of the year. By September, we're going to be hopefully planning our 2nd anniversary event. We want to identify opportunities to become engaged with other organizations who are interested in peer support. And we also want to have a presence at all of the upcoming peer support graduation sessions. We want new peer specialists to know who we are, and we want them to know how to get in touch with us and how they can become a part of this and become engaged. So for governance and organization, we want to develop a mission and vision statement. We've already done that. We want to establish and identify a board, and we want to establish and identify work committees. By the 2nd trimester, we want to be working on bylaw development. Those earlier established work groups and committees will be working on bylaw development and incorporation of the organization. And so again, if you look to the last column here, a lot of these things are going to be done through volunteer labor, and that's you all. And it's all of us actually. By the third trimester of 2021, we want to be looking at strategic planning for future years. We only did a strategic plan for 1 year because we really wanted to be focused and realistic about what we could get accomplished in our first real year of operation. But usually you do strategic planning several years in advance. And so by this time next year, we want to be in a position to do that. For the membership and communication activity, we want to register a domain name and establish an email. Again, that's something that's already been done. We want to create a social media presence, and we want to develop a logo, which is already done, and an identity package, which we'll be working on. We want to develop membership structure and launch a website. And by the third trimester, we want to expand the website with content developed throughout the year by all of us. And we want to offer a finite membership opportunity. And that means, what will the membership cost? How long will the membership term be? And more importantly, what do you all get by becoming a member of LAPAAC? For our last area of opportunity, fundraising and financials, we're going to skip the first trimester. It doesn't mean that we won't be working on anything, but we will be identifying opportunities. The second trimester, we want to start to develop a budget and other documentation. And by the third trimester, we want to be able to establish a bank account. And when you go back up to membership and communication and you get all the way over to how this is going to be funded, those grant explorations are going to really they're going to become very, very important as we get into fundraising and financials. So again, if you know of any grant opportunities or hear of any, let us know and we'll be more than happy to look into them. So that's just a really quick overview of our strategic plan. And to just summarize the areas that we're going to be working on next year, our first year goals are to develop organizational structure that includes bylaws, board design, committees, incorporation, meeting types and venues, and frequency. We want to focus on membership structure and design, communication, marketing, and network. The network is the meetings, the programs, and the social media presence that we spoke about. We want to look for fundraising strategies and opportunities, and we want a continuing, ongoing slate of continuing education opportunities for peer specialists around the state. So that is, again, just a really quick overview of what our strategic plan for the coming year looks like. I want to thank you all again for coming out and sticking with us all day today. And if you have any questions about the overview of the strategic plan, this would be a good time to jump right in there and ask them.
So any questions about the strategic plan?
I'm looking in the chat right now. If anyone has any questions or comments, you can get in touch with us at a later date. That was a lot of information to go over, and I know it takes time to really process things and take them in, but we're always here and available to answer any questions you might have.
I have a few comments. Can you all hear me?
Sure, go ahead, Biff.
How you doing? I just think this is awesome. I didn't even know this was like LAPAC, this was even a thing. So I got an email last week. So I think all of this is just great. It's just like, it's definitely something needed for peer support in Louisiana, especially. I think other states are farther ahead than we are as far as that. And so I feel like this is a great stepping stone. I'm just really just thanking y'all for doing this and putting this together, and just like, I think it needed to be done and everything. And really enjoyed the target health curriculum, which you guys at Mental Health America did, and Laura's been great. So just wanted to thank y'all. I mean, I don't have any other input. I think it all looks good. I'm just looking forward to the future. But definitely everything's been great that you guys have been doing. Just wanted to thank you and commend you for that. So those are my
Thank
comments.
you for that. Anybody else have anything they want to add? So like I said, if you have any suggestions later on, at any point in time, you can put them down in the chat, or contact us outside of this. Like I said, there was a lot of information to go over, and I know it takes time to process things. So whenever it kind of pops in your head that if you think there's something that we missed that we should be working on, some skill you have that you want to offer, just get in touch with one of us.
Thank you so much, Carla, for that. And thank you, everybody who took the time to listen. We want to move on next to Laura Lanier. She is going to be discussing, doing announcements and appreciation. Laura Lanier is a peer employed by the Mental Health Association over the Target Health Program. She has her master's in counseling and worked for the Alcohol and Drug Council in Nashville, Tennessee, with a business, marketing, fundraising, communication background, as well as with nonprofits. She lived in DC, Atlanta, and worked in several countries with the Red Cross. Using all her skills to help with recovery from major disasters, Laura moved to Baton Rouge 7 years ago to work at LSU. She recently received her designation of Certified Peer Support Specialist, being a part of the first virtual class in 2020 upon the arrival of the pandemic. She has the opportunity to work with volunteers and with Volunteers for Peers is dedicated to the growth of LAPAAC for a more recognized and regarded profession. Laura, I'm turning it over to you.
Thank you, AJ. Okay, being a dinosaur in the group, I am going to now try to show y'all a share screen about some happenings and some events and jobs that are going on around our state. Thank you so much for what everybody has brought to the table today. I mean, I have been taking copious notes, and I just cannot tell you how much it takes, like the village Brandy talked about, and I think everyone has heard, but from the people that have been around way long before me, I have been around for a small year. We have behind the scenes folks helping us out, ambassadors. I just cannot tell you enough how we appreciate each one of your time and effort and participation here today will make the difference for a organization like LAPAAC in our state. And yes, we're behind, but so what? Louisiana always comes around and does it right and with celebration. So let's look forward to that as we kick it off today. And I want to thank Adam, put together our nice logo, and we have other people behind the scenes that I'm sure I will not say, but I will try to just tell you a big hand clap to everyone who has helped in various ways. But we want you to add to the chat. I'll try to grab the information, and when you see the list today, it will not, I can tell you, have everybody's opportunities on it. But thank you to those that I was able to capture, and we will update it and send it out with the CEUs after today. So without further ado, I'm going to see if I can do a little screen share, and I'm going to talk through a few exciting things. Ricardo at OBH shared with me about our Medicaid and the billing, and just a couple of other things. Oh, and I just want to say, Patrick Hendry, what a great message of unity for us all, and what a great voice of longevity and coming here together with us. And so I could go on and on, obviously, but let me try this, y'all. Okay, where, uh-oh. Can you see it? Can y'all see that?
Not yet, no.
Oh, poo.
I can't anyway.
Well,
it is up.
it is up?
It is?
Okay. Okay, so it
Uh,
says special announcements and peer job opportunities.
oh, gotcha.
Lonzo,
On
can you
my
see it?
screen. I can now, yes.
Okay,
can
I'm not
see
great
it.
at this. I know several of y'all, so please, give me a little patience here. But so we're going to talk real quick about what we have heard from the Office of Behavioral Health. They have shared with us that peer services as a Medicaid reimbursable service is going to start in February 1. That is terrific for our profession, y'all. And this will start with the LGEs. So we'll see this at the Human Services Authorities and offices probably rolling out first, but other agencies are going to get on board and have that going for them with some guidelines towards the end of the spring. So look for more on that. We will also monitor it as LAPAAC, and on one of our committees, they will probably start really working with that. Let's see if I can roll on up here. The peer classes right now are happening more often because they're trying to get people ready to accept those roles to help with billing. So the next one is going to be in February. We will get the dates for you, but we want to be a clearinghouse and a resource so that you do know you can come to one place and find out all of these things. We want to also be a part of the directory and make sure everybody's emails are up to date. So we'll be contacting you with that. Probably OBH needs that as well because they want to be able to sign you off for your CEUs. And your CEUs are due the 31st of December. You get some for this today. You get some for Target Health. You get some for the ethics class by Carla on our website. So just let us know if you still have some CEUs to get for peers and we'll help you out. The other thing I wanted to let y'all know to look for, and I think we could use this as maybe a model, OBH is going to send out a peer survey. And I suggested to him that many times peers coming out of the class don't know exactly where and how to get jobs. So I was invited to go talk to their next graduation, as Carla referred to, and as a part of our strategic plan goal. And we are going to invite these new peers who have just gotten out of their class to come join us at LAPAAC. So we'll put them and get them busy and help them have more stepping stones, like Brandy was saying, hold their hand, walk beside them, and help them really grow into their profession with their talents. There is the address and number for Ricardo. I sent out some information on each of us with our emails last evening and this morning. If you didn't get them, please just let us know. Another training opportunity for CEUs, Nancy Hughes has an organization called New Freedom Foundation and is doing some trainings and has donated a couple of trainings for a door prize today. Thank you, Nancy. She also has a real informal group setting on Tuesdays once a month where people, our peers, can come together and just visit for an hour on whatever's going on. It is another way that we can work with organizations around our state, and we hope to all, again, be one voice, but that's another resource. Here are some peer positions. And again, I don't have everybody's, but these are some. So anybody looking, we've tried to capture for you the link and or an email so you can reach out. St. Tammany is looking for somebody at NAMI. And Lafayette, they're looking for someone at Springfield Wellness. The Vocab Center is now highlighting peer opportunities. In fact, y'all, that is how I got my job. I went through the Vocab Center and they helped me come over to the Mental Health Association. So I'm very grateful. You never know how networking works, so they were great. RI International has peer support specialists still, and one of our own peers who's is on the ambassador group, Lori Stone, is one of the supervisors. That is the Bridge for Hope, the Bridge Center of Hope. And so reach out to her. She can tell you more about it. MHA is still looking for a few positions. We have a suicide prevention project that is one of the first in the state. We need a peer. And we also have the ongoing Target Health programming that you can get a stipend of $500 over the 8 weeks. So please see me on any of those. The last couple that we have that you may want to get more information from the Human Services would be the Capital Area Human Services has a peer position open, and the Living Room model, which is a real cool new model that has several positions, much like our Bridges Center of Hope, is looking for peers to work with them. So those are just some opportunities that we were told about. There are other events that are going on that Carla alluded to about the mental health month, the mental health day, and a lot of these were going to be in person, so we've changed them to virtual, but we'll let you all know how we peers can be a real forefront. And the other thing I wanted to share with you is that we don't always get everything out to everyone, but if each peer can share, hey, I was at this great opportunity today with LAPAAC, let me tell you about it. And that's how we grow. It seems like more word of mouth and sharing a positive experience will be how we bring more people to the table. The networking that we have seen maybe with the Social Workers Association or with other associations that now have strong voices, they started just like us with Growing Pains. And they're all from different disciplines, whether addiction background or whether mental health, they're all together as one, and we learn from one another. We're going to have access to more trainings, to more education. We're going to have membership directories. We're going to have these ongoing networking forums at our quarterly meetings. And these are just opportunities, again, where we can build in time to talk and have conversations about growing. So I just want to, again, thank you all. We have 5 door prizes. We have been randomly given names that will be able to see me afterwards, and I will present those to you or get you in touch with the folks who have donated those. We have Laura Stanley and Angela Lorio both gave us some gift cards, and we have let's see, I was just given the names. Oh, here we go. Elisa, Alicia C, Corey, and Janie Stevens all won the gift cards. We have Mary Russo, who got the training that was donated to us from New Freedom Foundation, and she can get with Nancy Hughes on that. And then we have an MHA conference. It's a 2-day gift door prize, and Joan Harvey won that opportunity. So thank you all again for being a part of the services that we are getting out there for peers, for being a part of our collective voice. And if I can ever be a resource, please let me know. Thanks.
Laura?
Yes, ma'am.
Laura, I think there's 2 different Corys, so you need to clarify Corey.
Corey Jean Louis.
Okay, thank you.
I hope I didn't butcher that too bad. So thank you.
I want to open up the floor again for any questions that we need to discuss openly. Hey, I'm just looking forward to the next year. I'm looking forward to everybody standing up and showing out. I mean, that's what we do. We do it the best. So let's do it and let's make it happen, y'all. So any questions anybody has?
I just want to say We need one more name for the training because New Freedom donated 2 registrations. For
Oh,
the training.
girl.
Yeah.
All right. I'll shoot it up the flagpole to our random picker.
Any more questions? Any questions, you guys? Wow. You guys must just be excited. Let's get excited, y'all. I mean, let's show some of this excitement, y'all. Yes, yes, yes.
Hey, woo!
Someone's
Hey,
about to say something?
Yeah, AJ, who do we contact about the gift card?
You can let me know.
Laura Lanier.
I'll get you to the right people. How about that? I'm going to put my number again in the chat, and you should have all of our addresses and names and emails on a thing that was sent to you with your registration.
Okay, thank you.
So since there's no more questions, I'm just going to say real quickly, this has been a long time coming to the next phase of peer support. Just for us getting united and getting this moving forward is just so beautiful that everybody's here to share this. Also, just with the next year coming, and we see that finally, after all this time, we have some kind of date of how, you know, peer support services will actually be a billable service in Louisiana, which for a long time we've been fighting for. You know, it is starting with the LGEs, but it's a start. And that's what's the positive side of it, is a start. We've been waiting for this to happen a long time. So next year, nothing but beautiful things are going to come out of next year for peer support. So peer support specialists. So let's keep on looking forward to it. Anybody else have anything they want to add?
Laura, are you having an ambassadors meeting on Friday?
Yes. If anybody wants to join, I can send out, excuse me, the Zoom link to everybody that was a part of things today. And we will also be sending out kind of information from the job share sheet, as well as your CEOs. We meet at noon. If you don't hear from me, please just shoot me a quick email to the lanier@mhagbr.com. Yeah. Oh,
Anybody else have anything they
we
want to
did
add?
just get the other person's name for Nancy's class, and I got so excited I put it aside. So sorry, I'll announce it.
Okay. And so with that being said, you know, I'm just looking so forward. I think I became a peer support specialist back in 2011, it was. And I see one of my fellow peer support people there. Deborah Jackson was in my class. So
But that was in
good to see
10.
somebody.
That was in 2010.
Oh, it was 10. It's been that long?
Yeah.
Oh, it's 10 years? Wow.
Yes, yes.
Well, I stand to be corrected.
Yes.
But it's just a joy to see everybody come together and we move forward. Anybody else have anything they want to say or leave some
Well, I
remarks
wanted to
before
say
we
hello to
end?
Mary Russo, who is somebody else I haven't seen in ages. It's good seeing you here today.
Nancy Berg won the other class with Nancy Hughes. Thank y'all all for registering.
Carla, it's actually good to be here. And I
How are
changed
you,
up.
Mary?
I'm good. I actually changed up. I told Nancy this earlier in the week. I actually changed up what my role is here at the agency, and I'll be able to spend more time on peer services. So I'm very excited about that. So you'll be stuck seeing me more frequently now.
I would love it. Mary Russo is at StarCorp, everybody.
Good, great.
All right, you guys. So I want to thank everybody for participating. I want to thank Angela for her work on this, Laura Lanier for all the work you put into this, Carla, all the work you put into it, Patrick for those words of encouragement, as well as Brandy for her words. Also want to thank Stephanie Francis, who nobody probably heard from, but she is so impactful behind the scenes. And
She's
so I want to thank her
hiding
so much
today,
for
I
her.
think.
Yeah, she is.
But we're
But I
not
want to
going to
thank
leave
you
her
guys
out.
also for participating, and just thank you guys and look forward to the new year, and actually just have a happy holiday, but don't forget to take care of yourself in this pandemic. Take care of yourself and realize how much you have so much worth to offer everybody else, and that's what you do on a daily basis. Thank you, guys.
We ended early. Hey.
We did. Thank you for coming, everyone.
Finish that book, Carla.
Thank you, everyone.
Roy, I still have your book. I've had it for 9 years.
It's a good read. You've gone over
That's
it now 10
embarrassing. And
times,
now,
right?
now that we've mentioned it here, nobody else will ever lend me a book again.
Maybe
But you've been living out that book, Carla.
Thank you. At least it didn't go to waste.
Yes.
How about a book club?
A peer book club. That would be a great
That'd be
idea.
cool. We could pick good books, like something leadership or fun.
And it would be a good thing to do that's not necessarily like focused on the peer support, like as a relaxation and wellness tool, a peer book club.
I think that'd be fun. Roy,
It's a
you
done
can't be
deal.
in it. Thank you, all the break room leaders.
Be well, all.
Take care, everyone, and stay safe and enjoy your holiday.
Thank you, Amanda, our technical consultant.
Right.
Yay.
You're welcome. And with that, I'm going to end this meeting for everybody. So thank you all. Have a great day.
Thank you.
you.
Bye-bye.
Merry Christmas.